Boom. What is up, 80/20 real estate community? This is Dan Schwartz. I hope you guys are having a great week. I just had several awesome conversations today with investors just like you. And the common theme that I'm getting in all of these conversations are I have so much competition. Why should I buy the same list as the same person in my market? I know that if I'm doing cold calling to this list that like 10 other people are going to be cold calling this list. Oh my God, what do I do about competition? And I'm here to tell you that if you're in this game for the long haul, then there are ways to make your business defensible. Build a moat. If you think about like the old school fortresses and castles, there was a moat that you had to cross in order to get to it. How can you build a moat that makes it impossible to replicate your business? And I've been obsessed with this concept for a while. It's actually one of the core tenets of Perry Marshall's thinking, who wrote the 80/20 sales and marketing book, which is like the book that got me into the 80/20 principle. And I want to just share some thoughts for you guys to think about over the weekend about how to make my business defensible so that I don't need to worry about competition at all, like making competition irrelevant. So first way to do it, I wrote it down in the comments somewhere, but the first way to make your business defensible is, you guessed it, systems. Actually, the first one is strategic differentiation. The second way is systems. So technology and team. The third way is economies of scale. And then there's a bonus way that I threw in at the end there, which is brand. Having the better brand. These are 4 ways to start thinking about making your business impossible to replicate, making competition irrelevant. So the first way, and there's so many books on this that it's worth looking into. Just type in Google, how to build a defensible business or something like that, or read the book The Blue Ocean Strategy, which is all about this first one, strategic differentiation. If everyone in the real estate investing space is all going after high equity absentee owners in these 7 markets, where aren't they looking that you can start to invest your time and money? If everyone's investing in ugly houses, maybe there's some opportunity in pretty houses. If everyone's investing in high equity, maybe there's something you can do with low equity. If everybody is investing in this market, why not go to this other market that seems to, people are turning a blind eye? Start to think about how to zag when others zig. Strategic differentiation is all about just doing what everyone else is not doing, that there's still opportunity there. We see this in the marketing trends all the time. Back last year, cold calling blew up because direct mail died. And now people are starting to do direct mail more because cold calling is starting to get saturated, and you can't pull all the phone numbers, right? So you can't skip trace every single phone number, but you can always send mail to that person. So direct mail is coming back. And so you kind of need to learn how to zig while others zag. I think that's a key way to avoid competition, is just to play a different game than they are. And also specialization in a certain niche. So Joe Terrio, who does deals up in Connecticut, he goes all in Massachusetts. He goes all in on probate and inherited, and that is his niche. And he just goes deep and narrow into that one niche, and that is his strategic differentiation. Sure, he'll look at other types of deals, but he's made a brand around this inherited property solutions, and that is a very smart strategic way to make competition irrelevant. So start to think about how can you zig when others are zagging. And a great way, by the way, is just to start looking at pretty houses. If everyone's doing straight cash deals, start to make lease option arrangements or subject to or owner financing. Don't just make them the cash offer. Strategic differentiation is the first way to make competition relevant. The second way is systems. You guys know I'm obsessed with systems, and you should be too, because he who has the better systems will always outperform the competitors in your market that do not have ways to execute things on a consistent basis without having one centralized decision maker. Most real estate investors are solopreneurs that do everything themselves, and you can replace yourselves with systems and actually produce more output out of your business with less input from your specific time. And so systems are a way to outperform your competition. Here's an example. Let's say you're doing all of your appointments right now. Well, what if you created a training program for someone else to do your appointments? And that way you could effectively double the capacity of how many appointments you can go on, because you're going on appointments and now someone else can go on appointments. And you have a training program for exactly how they go on the appointments, what types of offers they make, how they run stuff by you, how they communicate with you, how they use the technology, which is super dialed in, by the way. So you can hire someone that already has a process in place. You don't need to constantly be micromanaging them. All of a sudden, with that simple move, well, simple, not easy, right, of bringing that person on, you're able to double what the next guy in your market that's still trying to do everything himself is able to do. So systems and becoming replaceable and removing yourself as the centralized decision maker in your business is the best way to avoid competition. Doing the hard stuff like creating systems, implementing technology, and perfecting a process for every area of your business that might just be in your brain right now, by the way. You need to get it out of your brain and put it into a process, is how you can do more deals than the next guy. I hear this all the time. How come I'm getting the same leads as this other guy in my market, but he's able to do 4 times the volume I am? Well, tell me about your follow-up, right? Like how many times are you touching this seller over the next 6 months? And then I promise you that the other guy in your market has a follow-up system where he's doing way more follow-up and touch points, and he has a process for it. There's a stat from Christina Kraus where she actually did a study across all her clients, hundreds of thousands of data points. Christina Kraus runs Virtual Lead Manager, so she is inside of their workspaces and she can see these stats. And she said that of the companies that had a follow-up system, just any process for like following up with a motivated seller, were able to close 78%. So 78% of their leads came 30 days or more after the first touch with that seller. That's almost 3/4 of their income came from follow-up after 30 days because they had a follow-up system. Now, the people that do not have a follow-up system, and by system, I just mean like a way of doing it consistently and predictably so someone else can step in and do it. Of the companies that did not have any process for their follow-up, guess how percentage of deals came from their follow-up? Well, 8% of their deals came 30 more days after the first touch, compared to 78% by having a follow-up system. So it's obvious, guys, like having systems is how you can outperform your competition. So strategic differentiation, zigging while others zagging, systems, being able to replace yourself so you can do more. And then the third way is economies of scale. So what does that mean? Economies of scale means that the more volume you do, the better rates you can get on your front end. So you're able to spend less on leads. In business, he who can spend the least amount to acquire a customer will basically be able to pay more to acquire customers. So understanding what your golden ratio is, and our friend Greg Bilbro is obsessed with this golden ratio, where if you do enough tracking and you do enough marketing experimentation, you can basically come up with, if I spend $1 in marketing, I know I'm going to make $5 in the back end. And so I'm going to try to spend as much money as I possibly can. So he who can spend more to acquire a motivated seller lead will outperform the competition. So how do you do that? Constant experimentation and driving your cost per lead down. And you can do that by just doing more volume. So I know that there's ways to spend less on skip tracing if you have a volume package, or using direct mail with Go Big Printing. I know there's a certain level where the price like significantly drops past a certain level of volume. So this business is a numbers game, right? You hear people say it all the time. The more volume you're able to feed into your business, the more money you're going to make at the back end, which means you're going to be able to feed more money back into the top, which means you're going to create this like accelerating feedback loop, which gives you economies of scale. And so that is the third way that companies are able to actually become defensible, is what they call it. And my camera is a little blurry. I don't know how to fix that. So strategic differentiation, systems, using technology and team to replace yourself. Third way is economies of scale, doing volume, figuring out what that golden ratio is and being able to spend more to acquire a customer than your competition. And the fourth way is brand. So we forget oftentimes that we are in a service business and that you are providing a service to homeowners. And so some of the best brands that are service oriented in the world are going to always do better work and get more leads than someone that doesn't have an established brand in their market. So having a brand, which is like the perception that you are the go-to person to sell your house to, look at the iBuyers. They're capitalizing on this by spending a ton of money to create a brand around their service, which is quick cash offers on their home. So like Joe Terrio up in near Boston, he has a brand around inherited property solutions. So people know that if they have an inherited property at some point in their life, they're going to go to him because he has that brand recognition. He pays for TV ads. He has radio ads. He's just part of the lexicon of business services in a community. And that is a super, super important way to make competition irrelevant. If you have an established brand and someone else is just coming into the business and nobody knows who they are, of course you're going to have a competitive advantage on them. So don't forget, this is a service-based business. You need to provide the best service. You need to provide the best experience to the homeowners and the buyers if you're wholesaling. It sounds obvious, but we kind of forget that we're in a service business. We're not selling products. We're not selling widgets. We're all selling services. So guys, I just want to get your brains thinking this weekend about how to make your business basically competition irrelevant. I want you guys to have fun making money and doing your own thing and staying in your own lane. And you do that by harnessing the power of economies of scale, building a better brand, utilizing systems and technology, and then strategic differentiation, zigging while other people are zagging. And if you can focus on that and stop doing what everyone else is doing, you're going to have a much more fun time in this business than trying to go after the same thing that literally every other guru is teaching everybody else how to do. So think differently, think smart, use this concept of strategic differentiation to go big, go narrow in one thing and zig while others zagging. And I promise you, you guys are going to find more success and results in this business. That's all for today, guys. I hope you had an amazing week. I hope you closed some deals, and I certainly had fun this week talking with all of our members. We launched our IF3 new InvestorFuse system today to our customers. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to InvestorFuse.com and you'll see that we rebuilt our entire system. We made it more streamlined, we made it more sales focused, and we made it more flexible so that it will actually work the way that your business works and does deals. And we're really, really super excited about it. It's still in beta. We haven't really publicly launched it yet, but you can sign up for it if you want. Just go to InvestorFuse.com. So with that, have a great weekend, guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Peace.